Hello, my name is Emilio Camahort, and I'm going to be talking to you about the GLOT library. First, I'm going to introduce the library. Then, I'm going to describe its features. After that, I'm going to show you how to initialize it. Finally, I'm going to describe the events it can handle. I will conclude this talk by showing you an example program that uses GLOT. OpenGL is a library that renders 3D graphics. However, OpenGL is device independent. If we want to do window management and user event handling, then we need another library. This is what GLOT does. In order to know how to use GLOT, we assume that you know how to create a C++ console application using Visual Studio 2005. We also assume that you know how to install GLOT, the library needed to program OpenGL, and we also assume that you know how to compile and run a C++ project. If you're using Visual Studio, remember that you have to include stdlib before glot.h. This is in order to avoid problems running your code. Here are some of the features of the GLOT library. First of all, remember that GLOT complements OpenGL. It has tools and utilities that allow you to do window management and user interaction. It supports creating multiple windows and sub-windows, and it has the added advantage that it is available for free. In order to start using GLOT, you need several initialization functions. Here are those 5 functions. The first one initializes the GLOT auxiliary library and connects to the library server. The second one initializes the display mode of GLOT. The third one sets the main window's size. The fourth one sets the main window's position. And the fifth one sets the name of the window and opens that window with that name or title. The main feature of GLOT is event handling. So let's take a look at the different events that GLOT supports. The first event is the display event that must be handled by installing a display callback function. This event must always be taken into account. It draws the display window every time the window is created, opened, exposed, maximized, and every time the contents changes due to a program or user action. The callback function associated to the display event is installed using the GLOT display function. Other events are window reshape events, and those are handled by a callback that is installed using GLOT reshape function. Finally, in order to handle events at the end of the main program, you're going to be calling the event handling loop, which is invoked by a function called GLOT main loop. Other events are user related, like keyboard events and mouse events. Regarding keyboard events, we have 2 types of events. The first type is events that happen when the user presses a key with an associated ASCII code. To install a callback for this type of event, you use GLOT keyboard func, and the callback has to have the prototype shown in the slide. An alternative event is when the user presses a key that is a special key, like a function key or a cursor movement key. In that case, the user will install the callback using GLOT special func, and the callback we have the prototype shown in the slide. In both prototypes, X and Y are the device coordinates in pixel of the position of the cursor when the user pressed the key. Another type of events are mouse events. There are 2 types of mouse events: mouse button events and mouse movement events. Mouse button events are handled installing a callback that you install using the GLOT mouse func function. The callbacks must have this prototype that appears in the slide, where the button may take any of the following values: left button, middle button, or right button. As for the status parameter, it may take one of the following values: GLOT up or GLOT down, depending on whether the user has pressed or released the button. Again, X and Y are the device coordinates of the position of the cursor. The other type of mouse events are mouse movement events. They are installed using the functions GLOT mouse func and GLOT pulsive motion func. The first one installs a callback that is invoked every time the user moves the mouse inside the window while holding a mouse button pressed. The second one is called when the user moves the mouse inside the window without holding no mouse button. Again, X and Y are the device coordinates in pixels of the position of the cursor while the mouse is moved. Finally, here is an example program where you can see how you initialize and configure GLOT. The first 5 calls are used to initialize the library. Then you initialize OpenGL in the third last call. Finally, you install the display function with GLOT display func, and conclude by calling the event handling loop. This is all about GLOT. Thank you very much for your attention.